Capcom's Ghosts and Goblins is a legendary video game franchise, and long before the term Souls-like described challenging games, it was the title that we gauged difficulty with. While it was once one of the biggest hits for Capcom on both arcade and console, the series returns to the gaming spotlight once more after an almost 15-year hiatus as the ambitiously titled Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. Although developed by a fresh team, series founder Tokuro Fujiwara returns for this reboot. As the name suggests, this title is the resurrection of one of Capcom's most cherished IPs. More than being just a return of a classic 2D platformer, it also introduces plenty of new ideas to make it feel like it belongs in this gaming generation. Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection largely retells the same classic tale of our hero Arthur, the proverbial knight in shining armor, rescuing the princess from the demon realm and battling the demon lord himself. Despite the pretty basic story, the ghoulish game world is charged with some fantastic artwork and monster designs. As a reboot, this largely feels like a collective reimagining of the two most pivotal games in the franchise, Ghosts and Goblins and Ghouls and Ghosts. These two games inspire the level themes and presentation of Resurrection, and while the reboot has some familiar set pieces and level segments borrowed from past entries, they are still entirely new. Fans going in expecting a modern reskin of classic levels will surely be caught off guard when they face new challenges and drastically altered level progression. Calling Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection a challenge is putting it mildly, as the game is infuriatingly difficult and yet masochistically satisfying at the same time. The default standard difficulty is Legend, which is how the game is intended to be experienced. This game doesn't pull any punches right out of the gate, nor does it try to ease players in. Enemies of all shapes and sizes attack you from every conceivable angle, and even the levels are designed to hinder your progress with all sorts of traps. Although the protagonist Arthur comes fully armored with all sorts of weapons, including the trademark golden armor power-up, players can expect to spend most of their time playing in boxer shorts. In addition to Arthur having to deal with various enemies and difficult platforming, there are, of course, the behemoth bosses. Most of them are complete redesigns of boss encounters from the previous games. These encounters are infuriating, in particular the swarm of flies you need to battle at the end of Zone 4, and what is scary is how these bosses eventually become standard enemies towards the end of the game. If the legend difficulty overwhelms, and it will, there are other difficulty settings available to ease down on the enemy onslaught and allow Arthur's armor to take a few more hits before he has to battle in boxer shorts. Of interest is the page difficulty setting, which is as easy as it gets, allowing Arthur to respawn on the spot without restrictions. Of course, playing the game on this setting completely defeats the purpose of the intended design, but it is a great way to learn the level's layout before aiming for higher difficulty settings. While the previous titles were arcade ROMs designed to be conquered in one sitting, Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection benefits from some quality of life improvements afforded by modern gaming. For one thing, you are not expected to power through the adventure in one go. Even on the highest difficulty, the game's world map keeps track of your progress. Structurally, there are 7 or so levels spread across 5 zones, where earlier zones have branching paths that allow you to choose a preferred level. Furthermore, there are opportune checkpoints within levels, which can help depending on the difficulty setting. This is, of course, just the basic quest, because true to the series' tradition, there are additional levels and secrets all part of the second adventure loop to reach the true conclusion. The second loop involves shadow variants of existing stages, and these are, believe it or not, far more difficult than the standard stages. Brave players should be prepared to potentially go mad in pursuit of the true ending. More than just an ending, it's the journey leading to it, with all sorts of collectibles and secrets to discover that help with the sense of progress and satisfaction. There are even in-game achievements to hunt. As hard as the standard adventure is, there are other tools and features to ease things a bit and give players a sense of progression, even when they are stuck retrying the same stage over and over. The Umbral Tree serves as a skill tree of sorts where Arthur can use collected Umbral Bees to learn new skills and magic. What's also neat is that Arthur can equip multiple weapons and spells, where players can use magic a little more freely now. The variety of weapons and spells gives players a chance to figure out their favorite combinations of the two. As hard as the game is, it does feature some experimentation with different settings and abilities to allow the player to take control of their adventure. Players who feel like they need a helping hand will appreciate the two-player local co-op option. This mode doesn't allow players to control 2 different Arthurs. Instead, player 2 becomes a supporting character as one of the 3 spirits that they can switch between on the fly. These spirits have a basic attack, but their real purpose is assisting Arthur in navigation, such as carrying him around or even creating a temporary makeshift platform. Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection feels like a major reboot of a classic franchise in every way, reintroducing a celebrated style of action platforming and infusing it with new ideas. It's a revitalization and realization of the vision behind the original, designed to be one of the toughest games you'll have ever experienced, but now with plenty of intuitive features and options that allow you to shape your own adventure. This happens to be the most complete and feature-packed rendition of Ghosts and Goblins imaginable, and has something for everyone to enjoy. Noisy Pixel is giving Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection a 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Please read the full review at noisypixel.net. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our future content.